All of Israel was silent, waiting for the day God would send a king, as they had heard the prophets say. Long ago Isaiah had foretold a Prince of Peace, a mighty God whose hand would cause all suffering to cease. He would come in power like they never seen before. The roar of Judah's lion would be quieted no more. He'd overthrow the government and policies of Rome, and occupy Jerusalem and sit on David's throne.
All of heaven stood in silence. The dreaded day had come, the day the disobedience demanded God's own Son. The angels hushed their singing as their King would lead them through to be a tiny baby in a teenage virgin's womb. But he would not be born into a palace made of gold. He'd be the humble sacrifice Isaiah had foretold. They watched him trade his glory for garments of a slave, and walk the lonely road to earth to suffer and to save. The universe was fashioned by the very words he said. So why then would he choose to have nowhere to lay his head? And why would he leave heaven for a small Judean town and try to make them see that he was God come down to live a sinless life? Though he was tempted just like me, and satisfy God's holiness so I could be made free. He had to be like me to bear my shame. That's why he came.
That's why he came. That's why he came. That's why he came. The angry crowd was shouting. They cried out, "Crucify! He isn't who he claims to be, and for that he must die." They couldn't understand, so they crucified God's Son. They thought that it was over, but it had only just begun. For just a few days later, as the crowds cheered his death, the tomb where they had buried him was filled up with God's breath. He rose again triumphant, the King of David's seed. He was not what they'd expected, but he was all they'll ever need. The universe was fashioned by the very words he said. So why then would he choose to have nowhere to lay his head? And why would he leave heaven for a small Judean town to try to make them see that he was God come down to live a sinless life? Though he was tempted just like me, satisfy God's holiness so I could be made